Hello everybody. Today's video is on Diablo Immortal, a game that's been out for like a week. Free to play game. Yeah, frankly, I've been playing it, and it's really not that free to play. It's probably one of the most heavily monetized games I've ever played. The topic for today's video is actually XP farming. So there's a lot of debate on what is like the best way to farm XP in the game. So I decided I would do the trooper thing, and I would test three individual ways the best I can. So we're going to do 1 hour brackets. I'll speed up the footage. We're going to do 1 hour of Elder Rifts, 1 hour of world mob farming and gathering the monster essence for that beastery bonus. And then we're going to be doing 1 hour of dungeon runs, probably something like Temple of Namari, something pretty quick, right? So we can just get the boss XP and just get out and redo, cycle and repeat. So item drops will be in a category. Now, I'm already aware that probably the best one for items is probably going to be dungeons, especially if you're doing a particular dungeon for the sets that you need. But it's still up to debate whether the XP comes anything close to doing Elder Rifts or gathering Monster Essence. Let's get this video underway. Alright, first off is Elder Rifts. I gotta say, right off the bat, I was kind of surprised how fast you could actually do an Elder Rift. I think most Elder Rifts only took me anywhere between like 2 minutes and 50 seconds to like maybe 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And I had like one outlier where maybe it was around 4 minutes because I walked the wrong way for the portal. Overall, though, the overall monster XP, though, for Elder Rifts are a lot lower. The actual total for the average monster is only 316 XP. When you also average everything out with that number in mind for XP, you'll get that amount of XP around 175 times per rift. So that will be 175 monsters for the 316 XP rifts. You'll usually encounter probably 12 unique monsters. Now, that's obviously just an average because sometimes you'll encounter the magics or maybe even an ancient. I don't know if they spawn in there. I haven't seen any, but maybe they do. But that gives you around the same XP as 3 uniques. So I'm just going to average it out again, make the number simple, and that comes out 20,000 XP every single time that you're doing a rift. And then the next number is the actual boss kill. The boss gives around 16,216 XP, and they usually drop 3 additional XP orbs that have a value of 3,689. So that means the bonus XP on those 3 orbs comes out to 11,067. You could probably do better if you had gems and high resonance, but my average was 18, but I wanted to lowball it a little bit because I am aware that some people are also going to be farming a lot slower, and I would say that some of the slowest I've seen is 10 to 12, and some of the highest I've seen is 18 to 21 on the people I've asked around. So I'm going to try to squeeze the number right in the middle and say what we can expect an average of 16 runs in 1 hour. So the total numbers are 316 times 175, which comes out to 55,300. The 12 unique monsters that you'll probably see in a rift come out to around 20,172. The total XP for the bosses comes out to 16,216. Plus their bonus orbs is another 11,067. If you times all of that times 16 for the total amount of runs in 1 hour, plus the kill streak XP, which I gave an average of 160,000 just to make the numbers a little bit more clean, comes out to 1,804,080 XP. In conclusion, Elder Rifts are amazing XP, albeit extremely repetitive. They're probably the most repetitive thing on this list. It does make sense, however, because the big selling point for the pay system in this game is getting legendary gems, and you get legendary gems through Elder Rifts. So I think it adds as an extra bait for the paying players to be doing Elder Rifts for not only getting overpowered 5 gem items, potentially, and also the added benefit of giving a lot of XP. So next up is world map farming. As you can tell right off the bat, finding a good spot in peak hours is extremely difficult. So one thing I would say about this method is it's not going to be amazing depending on when you're playing. If you're playing on peak hours, Elder Rifts might be better, but once you see the overall numerical value, and especially when you see how well I was able to farm when I finally found a good spot, it's actually quite surprising how good it is. One of the most notable things about a world map farming as well is the gear quality is actually a lot higher than any of the other methods. Like I said, we'll get more into that when we finally get around to dungeons, but I did receive 2 separate legendary drops during this 1 hour, as well as all the magic items were actually in competitive quality with my rings. The entire time I did Elder Rifts and the entire time I did dungeons, I didn't even find rings that would have a arrow up, let alone a good legendary piece. So I would say that if you're out to gear farm, doing the world map is actually the best option, and that was very surprising to me. Another thing I would say is that the overall minute-to-minute average of finding uniques and elite monsters is quite lower than I originally thought it would be. I think, as you can see, I was only finding even blues maybe like every minute, and that is a very large disparity between Elder Rifts, where it's like 12 per 3-minute rift. However, again, the XP values are significantly diminished in Elder Rifts. So the numbers this time around are a little different, basically because I wasn't really able to find a really secure area where there wasn't a lot of competition. So if you look at the logs in the background, you can see that the average XP is actually around 530, but considering all the large gaps in time where I wasn't even able to find a monster to kill, I did drop it to 432 because there are mobs that do drop that amount of XP, and I do think that is a fair average in reduction. So by counting off the actual screen caps, you can see that my average for killing monsters is only around 40 per minute, but I do think a more reasonable expectation is 50, especially if you do find an area or you're doing this off of peak hours. Now, if I could give some recommendations, especially after playing the game for an additional 2 days since making this video, I would say to completely avoid side quests. The XP value is not high enough to justify all the walking around that happens for the 1 or 2 minutes. Those are all instances where you're not really maximizing your potential of killing camps of monsters. So I would, again, just recommend you don't do side quests. However, I would recommend doing every single event that happens. So killing the 6 ambush, killing 20 monsters, or sticking around for the purple boss, because the time efficiency for the extra 16,000 XP is actually pretty good, even better than Elder Rifts. So if you put together all the numbers and you add the total amount of monsters killed per hour, which I said is around 50, that comes out to around 1,296,000. If you add in the amount of bestiary pages that you'll unlock with Monster Essence, that comes to around 432,000 XP. If you're able to do around 8 of the Clear the Rots or of the random purple bosses, you'll get around 129,728 experience. If you kill about 30 unique monster camps, you get around 146,971 experience. If you add all those numbers together, you'll get a grand total of 2,005,141 experience. Next up and last is dungeons. Now, I will say right off the bat, the individual unit XP is the highest. It's around 570 XP per unit, and with the variations and uniques that spawn, and with extra skeleton mages, etc., The Temple of Namari has 45 units with averages considered per run, and then you have 3 sub-bosses plus Sargoth. Sargoth gives 28,537 XP, and each of the sub-bosses give 21,403. And then the total XP that you'll be getting per run comes out to about 118,000. So I wanted to be a little bit on the generous side and assume that you are able to do 5-minute runs and you only take like 1 or 2 town breaks. However, I know some people won't do it that high, so I wanted to put, like, again, a fair average. So the average I used was 10 runs per hour, and that only gives a grand total of 1,183,960 XP. It's not even half as much XP as world farming, and it's around, a 60% XP reduction on Elder Rifts. The other thing that really, really surprised me about it, and what really kind of upset me, was the fact that despite the massive decrease in XP, the loot wasn't good, right? I mean, at least with the world map farming, we got 2 legendaries during my 1 hour. And at least with Elder Rifts, there was a lot of items to salvage. Except other than a single set item in an entire hour, there weren't any noteworthy drops. You would at least expect 1 or 2 legendaries, or at least 2 to 3 set items for an entire hour of farming, especially considering that the XP is so much lower. But no, Diablo Immortal didn't give us either. It didn't give us XP or items in dungeons, and honestly, that really blew me away.